Hello there, I'm Prof. It's very nice to meet you. Tell me, what are you here for today? What can I do for you?
Hello, doctor. I'm Egypt. It's very nice to meet you too. Well, basically, I'm here because I don't feel like I'm very satisfied with my life. The recently conducted World Values Survey evaluated my mean life satisfaction at a 4.85. And on a scale from 0 to 10, being 10 the happiest, I think this result is very disappointing. And I really don't know what to do.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that, but let's dig into this problem and figure out why this is the case. What do you feel is wrong at this point?
I feel like my people are not happy at all. We have no prospect, no vision. I just feel like giving up. I thought that maybe because we have a comparatively high GNI per capita at $10,100 and a 98% secondary school enrollment, that my people would be satisfied with their life, but they're not, and I don't know why.
Let me tell you this. I recently ran a statistical analysis to determine the factors that influence life satisfaction. And guess what? Neither GNI nor education indicators are significant predictors for life satisfaction. So having the highest GNI and the best schooling system doesn't guarantee that your people will be happy.
Wait, what? I always thought that this was the case. Well, if I had known better, I should really start running linear regressions before determining my emotions.
Well, yes and no. See, the human mind is so complex that it's really hard to understand what happens and why. It's like the statistical program R. You know that something has happened, but you don't know how or why it happens, nor what it means. But going back to the topic, I want to invite someone else in the room which is going through something similar as you, in a way. If of course, if that's okay with you.
Yes, that's no problem.
Mexico, would you please join us?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
Mexico, why don't we tell Egypt what we talked about yesterday on our findings?
Well, basically, I'm satisfied. Very satisfied with my life. One might even say euphoric. And I thought that this was the case because I have a comparatively high GNI per capita and an unemployment rate below the average. By the way, only 4.1%. However, after talking with Dr. Ceballos, he made me realize that life satisfaction does not depend on that after all.
Precisely. Let's go through our statistical model so that we can show Egypt what we're actually talking about.
Excuse me, I couldn't help but overhear what you were saying, and I feel that my problem is related, so I hope you don't mind if I join. I am desperately trying to figure out how my GNI is even higher than both of yours, but still my people are not satisfied with their lives.
Yes, please, by all means, sit down.
Thank you.
Okay, let me just pull up my models here. Here we can see the Pearson correlation between mean life satisfaction and the variables we thought could influence it. The only significant correlations are between life satisfaction and corruption, life expectancy, GNI per capita, and public health expenditures.
Correct. And knowing which were the significant predictors, we are able to run a linear regression to check if they could potentially shape a model that predicts life satisfaction.
However, we found that although the model as a whole is significant, the individual variables are not. In other words, the model has significant F value, meaning it explains a part of the total variance of the mean life satisfaction, in fact, only 15.9%. Focusing on the predictors, we saw that none of them has a significant T value. This is possibly the case because none of the variables has a large impact alone, rather only the model as a whole. To further explore why this is the case, we ran a stepwise regression, and we found that only the life expectancy was left as a significant predictor for life satisfaction. This sheds a light on an interesting insight. Life expectancy is determined as the expected lifespan of a person at the moment of birth, if mortality patterns remain the same throughout the subject's life. Therefore, in my opinion, it makes sense that life expectancy predicts life satisfaction, since mortality patterns are affected by wars, diseases, and catastrophes, factors which I believe can also affect life satisfaction.
But wait, I'm a bit confused, Russia. You and I have very similar life expectancies, but still, your people are more satisfied with their lives than mine.
Well, then let's see what we can find when we look specifically at world regions and the differences between them.
Okay, so when we look at these differences in life satisfaction between the regions, we can see a clear disparity. The most striking difference is between Latin America, the Caribbean, and the Middle East and North Africa.
To confirm our suspicions, we ran an ANOVA test, and it confirmed indeed that there is a significant differences between Latin America and the Middle East and Northern Africa.
Oh wow, that is indeed pretty interesting. Do you think that we can find out where that difference is radicated?
Of course! Here, run an ANOVA test and we can figure out where the differences lie.
Okay, it actually shows here that the only significant difference between these two regions lies in the freedom score. The rest are not significantly dissimilar.
Well then, Babushka, as there is a difference between Latin America and the MENA in their life satisfaction, and there is furthermore another difference in their freedom, don't you think that this would suggest that freedom is actually a significant predictor for our model?
But we know from previous analysis that that is not significant.
True. Well, so sorry to ask about this again, but it is still not very clear to me. What about wealth and money? Do these play any role in determining the satisfaction of people's lives?
Well, we saw in our first model that GNI per capita was not a significant predictor for life satisfaction. However, that analysis fails to consider the fact that perhaps it is not just this direct correlation between GNI per capita and life satisfaction that we must consider.
So wait, what do you mean?
Okay, so what if we divide our set of countries by levels of GNI per capita rather than by regions? I would think that countries with similar income levels also have similarities among other political, economic, and social indicators. If we divide the countries into low, medium, and high income, according to their GNI, maybe you could find something interesting.
Well, that sounds plausible. Let's give it a try. Is there a difference between the mean life satisfaction of these three groups?
Well, the ANOVA certainly seems to suggest so. There is a significant difference of life satisfaction between low and medium income, and also between low and high income. However, there is no significant difference between medium and high income.
Well, that is indeed very interesting. Let's look closely at our predictors to see if there are any other significant differences between the income groups. This definitely shows that there is a significant difference between them regarding every single variable except for unemployment. Well, I understand. That all makes a lot of sense. But then again, if we go back to our first linear regression model, it points out that GNI per capita is not a significant predictor for the satisfaction of people's lives, despite of what our recent findings suggest.
Ay, Dios mío, then what actually affects life satisfaction?
I'm very glad that you asked that once more. I believe that we have been looking in the wrong direction. Basically, we focused all of our analysis in more of a macro level explanation, looking at the environment in which people live in, but we forgot the most important part, basically that we are looking at individuals after all. I think we should have looked more of a micro level or individual examinations.
That makes sense, I guess. I mean, there has to be an explanation after all.
There is actually. Look at this.
Да.
Again, our assumption was wrong from the start. Life satisfaction is then affected significantly by an individual's macro-level environment. In Edwards and Clermac's study published in 1973, the one you're holding right now, 507 individuals from both genders and with the same socio-economic status were asked about their life satisfaction, and this is what they concluded.
It says here that life satisfaction is affected by things like the size of the community people live in and their participation in events like elections or religious activities.
Even if they have contact with those who surround them, as well as how many neighbors they have.
And surprisingly, not their actual health, but only how healthy they perceive themselves to be.
Exactly, this is not affected by the situation of our country, but rather the situation of ourselves. Furthermore, we can fit in the social comparison theory. Basically, it states that we compare ourselves to the people that immediately surround us, and if you think about it, this makes sense. If we see that everyone else is in a similarly bad situation, like the general circumstances of the country we inhabit, we don't perceive it as bad even if the situation is much better in other countries. Compare ourselves based more on what differentiates us as individuals in personal and sentimental regards, not necessarily in economic or political aspects across regions.
I guess that's it then. Life satisfaction is affected not by the overall condition of the country, but by who people are and how they perceive themselves.
Then everything we did was a waste of time?
No, absolutely not.
No. We found out that out of our initial list of socioeconomic and political variables, life expectancy was the only one with a significant impact on life satisfaction.
We also discovered that there are differences in life satisfaction between regions and levels of income. In addition, the freedom score varies greatly between regions and between income groups. All variables except unemployment do so too.
Exactly. Well, I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank
Thank you, Dr.
Bye.
Goodbye.